successful in this profession. I understand those kind of dark and sometimes lonely times where you see other people around you having success and progressing faster than you are. And, and there were many, many times that I just wondered, why is this not happening for me? And I start off sharing this with you tonight because I just want you to realize that no matter where you are in your business right now, I can relate to where you are. But what I want to give you are some lessons and some insights that I promise you, if you can really internalize what I'm going to share with you tonight, they will literally be potentially life-changing, not only to your business, but to your life in general. And the other thing that I really want to ask you is I want to ask you to just kind of challenge your thinking when it comes to your business and be open to some different ideas and perspective. But here's what I want to start off with. And this is the thing that I wish my first mentor would have taught me when I first joined into my business. And if you're taking notes, this would be probably a good thing to write down. Success is not a matter of doing. It is a matter of being. And who you are being in your business is leadership. See, I believe that what network marketing really is, it is a character development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And to the degree that you are really willing to work on yourself and become a better version of yourself, to really develop the characteristics that are necessary for success, because success is a matter of being, it is a matter of character. If you look at people like Corey and other people that you aspire to be someday in your company, I promise you, success leaves clues. There are shared characteristics and traits that successful people have that we have to learn how to embody and that we have to learn how to show up every day in our business. Now, here's the big mistake that I made for many, many years though. I thought success was a matter of doing. I always was looking outside of myself for the solution. Every year I would go into the new year, I would set these really big goals for my business. I did what my mentor told me. He would say to me, Bob, your problem is you're not thinking big enough. You got to dream bigger, right? Maybe you've heard kind of that same message before. So I'd be like, all right, that's the problem, right? It's outside of me. I got to think bigger. I got to work harder. I got to do more. I'd set these big goals for myself, which, by the way, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, would always feel so hollow and fake and inauthentic to me, because here I was broke, right? Barely getting by, nobody on my team. And I'm setting these really crazy, audacious goals that I can't even fathom or imagine, but this is what they were telling me to do. And then the first question that I would ask myself is, what would I need to do in order to hit that big, crazy goal? And this is what most of us are taught. And it's also the reason why most of us never hit our goals, because the question that you should be asking before anything else is not what would I need to do to hit that goal, talk to more people, because how many of us figured this out already? Consistency is a difficult thing, right? You ever wonder why you know what to do? You don't need me to get on here and say, hey, you should really talk to people about your products and your business. And, you should probably present and follow up. All that stuff. Everything you should do. The question you should be asking yourself is, why aren't you doing it? Why are you not doing the thing that if you were to do would help you be successful? I'll tell you why. Because deep down inside, there's a lot of stuff going on that's holding you back. And every time you go out and you do it, you don't see the results you want. You wind up quitting, because what's really at play is this: your external world, what you see around you, the size of your team, the size of your check, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your physical health, your spiritual health, is a reflection of what is going on inside of you, right here in your head. And the thing that I can promise you is this, is that each and every one of you, over time, you've created this, what's called identity for yourself in your business. And this identity that you've created is the very thing that's holding you back. We all have limiting beliefs about ourselves when it comes to success in our business, whether we realize it or not. We all have a tendency to think not so great, sometimes pretty negative thoughts about ourselves and our business. We all have these stories that we've created, these elaborate stories sometimes about why we aren't where we want to be or should be. And all of these things make up your identity. And the problem that a lot of you have, if you're stuck, you've created this identity that is limiting you and holding you back. I'll guarantee you this. You will never out-earn or outperform the person that you believe deep down inside yourself to be. If you believe you're not worthy of success, if you believe you're not good enough, if you've got these stories at play, I'm not as pretty enough or smart enough or talented enough or fit enough or this or that, if these are the prevailing thoughts and stories that you have, if you have an identity of not being enough, of scarcity, unworthiness, and lack, there's no amount of hard work or desire in the world that's ever going to make a difference for you. And this is the reason why you struggle with consistency. This is the reason why you'll do the right thing, but you'll never do it long enough to see the result. Because what happens is you start, you don't see the result, and then automatically your mind says, see, I told you you're not good enough. Because here's the interesting thing the mind will do. It'll find exactly what you're looking for. Whatever your belief is about yourself, if you're not good enough, you will only look for things that prove what you think about yourself. And what a lot of people don't realize is this is the thing that is keeping you stuck. So the question that you need to ask yourself, if you want to hit the big goals, is not what to do. It's who would I need to be in order to deserve what I say I want? Who would I need to be? See, if you start from the inside, if you start with identity, like if you acknowledge, you know what? Somebody that, if I'm going to continue to be somebody that talks down to myself and doesn't believe in myself, I am never going to hit my goals. So what I would need to be is I would need to be someone, even in the beginning, if it feels fake as I do this, I would need to be someone that actually believes in myself. I would need to be someone that thought more positive thoughts than negative thoughts. I would need to be someone that's not inconsistent anymore in my business. I would need to be someone that doesn't let fear keep me playing small. I would need to be more courageous. I would need to take action even when I'm afraid. I would need to be someone that lets go of my need to try to control other people and their opinions about what I do. Because, by the way, all of your desire to do that stuff is why you are where you are, which is not good enough, I'm going to guess, or you wouldn't be on this Zoom tonight. Because if everything was going great, you're crushing it, you made all the money, and you're happy, you want to be on the Zoom. Like, there's a lot of things you'd rather be doing tonight than sitting on a Zoom and listening to me yell at you for 30, 40 minutes, right? But this is what happens. This is where we are. So here's what I want to try to open your eyes to. How this concept of identity and who you are being in your business is always at control, but I want to help you begin to change this. I want to help you begin to start to shift. See, because I believe that one of the biggest, if not the biggest problem that people in this profession have is a mindset of scarcity, of not being enough, or that it's never enough. Because scarcity doesn't only apply to people that are stuck and struggling that don't think they're enough. Scarcity also applies to people that are massively successful and people that are successful. See, there are so many people in this profession that have an achievement mindset that think hitting that big rank or getting that check or quitting their job, that's going to be the thing that's going to finally make them happy and feel fulfilled, and everything's going to be okay. And the problem with that, and some of you have seen this before, you set this big goal for yourself, you get it, and then what do? You don't even let yourself have a minute to enjoy it, because automatically with a mindset of scarcity, okay, great, I did that, what's next? It's never enough. You're on this treadmill of achieving and always more. And that is the most surefire way for you to burn out, for you to become overwhelmed. And what you realize is all that hard work and all that struggle that you thought when you hit that thing was going to make you happy, you realize that that's not really how this works, right? See, the thing you have to really tap into is you have to learn how to step out of a mindset of scarcity And it's not what most people will teach you is they say, well, if you have a scarcity mindset, you just have to have adopt an abundance mindset. But see, I go back to what my mentor used to tell me. I had a mindset of scarcity. He's telling me to set these big goals and step into abundance. I can't even see it. It's too far of a step. Here's the intermediate step that every one of you needs to take. And by the way, the beauty of this is it is literally available to you at any moment. And that intermediate step is acknowledging your own worth and being enough. It's not abundance. See, because until you start from the foundation of acknowledging your own worth and stop telling yourself the lie that you're not good enough, you will never be able to step into abundance. So you have to start from acknowledging your own worth. And here's the easiest way that I know to do this is change your thinking. See, here's probably one of the most powerful things that I ever learned in my life about the power of your thoughts. And if you get what I'm about to share with you right now, you now have the formula to literally go out and create whatever life you want to have. Here's how this works. Your current circumstances, what you see around you today, is evidence of your past thinking. So the way that you thought last year, last month, created what you see around you today. Because this is the way that this works. Here's the way the brain works. You think a thought, it creates an emotion. Like I promise you, if your prevailing thought is you're not good enough, you are not going to feel really motivated to go out and do the work. How many of us have already figured that out, right? If we're looking for proof that we're not good enough, you're going to have negative emotions. And when you're not feeling good about yourself, when you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling discouraged, you're down on yourself, you're afraid to take action, you're not going to do it. And I can promise you this. As a matter of fact, I'll guarantee you this. I don't guarantee many things, but if you don't show up and take action every day, you are not going to be successful. You are going to be in the same exact place a year from now that you are today unless you start showing up as a different person. So what we don't understand though, and this is what I think is so sad, most people don't realize this, they just are on autopilot. They look at what's around them. You know, I don't have a big team. I don't have a big check. So that means I'm not good enough. So we limit what we believe is possible for ourselves in the future based off of what we see right now in front of us. Never understanding that what we see in front of us has nothing to do with our future. It's actually a product of our past thinking. So we wind up living this vicious cycle of determining what we think is possible based off of our past thoughts and thinking negative thoughts, and we're stuck. And here's the way you change this. You wake up. You realize and you become conscious that your thoughts about yourself, your beliefs about yourself, and your stories are going to determine your future. And the moment you can start choosing different and more empowering thoughts, you will begin to create positive emotions. And when you're feeling positive, there is an exponentially better chance that you show up and do the work. And the secret is this: greatness lies in consistency. Greatness lies in doing the little things, but you need to be in an emotional state to show up and do the work long enough to see the results. See, the thing that I never realized is that the evidence of my future circumstances is my thinking of today. So I'm really drilling this home heavily because I want you all to start paying attention to your thoughts and stories and beliefs and understand that you made them up. All your thoughts and beliefs, they're just interpretations. You know, that's the reason why you can have, and you've heard this story before, you can have two children that grow up in the same abusive household, their father, their mother, alcoholic, and one of them grows up to become an alcoholic, and they interview that child and say, well, why do you think you're an alcoholic? And his answer is, well, how could I not be? Look at my parents. And then the other child goes on to live a productive life and makes an impact and contributes. And they say, well, why do you think you ended up like this? And the answer is, how do you think I would have? It's the same circumstances, but it's two different interpretations. One did not attach his or her own self-worth to what was happening around them. And you have to learn how to really start leveraging this in your favor. So I'll give you a tangible way to begin this process. There is no way that I know faster to get out of a scarcity mindset and to really begin to create more positive emotions in your life than gratitude. And I know everybody talks about gratitude, and I heard people talk about gratitude for years. You got to be grateful. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I never did it. I never actually sat down and executed the practice of gratitude. And here's what's really, it's interesting, but it's kind of sad. Most people, when they start practicing gratitude, they literally can't find things to be grateful for in their life. Because your mind is so conditioned and trained to only look for the negative that it literally becomes difficult for us to notice the positive in our life. One of the things that you can and should be grateful for, even if you don't have the results you want, how about the person that you're becoming in the process of building your business? Because I'll tell you, that's one of the best gifts you'll ever get. You know, be grateful for who you are, for how you show up in the world differently than you did before. Look for the little things, because here's what begins to happen. Whatever we focus on, we attract more of into our life. And if every day, instead of thinking the negative thoughts, if you force yourself to look for the positive, you start training your brain in a different way, you'll create better emotions, which will cause you to actually follow through and take action. If you can wake up to this idea of identity, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to slip back into your old bad patterns, but now what's going to happen is you're going to realize that there's nobody to blame for where you are in your business other than you. And I will tell you that is a difficult, but is one of the most empowering things you will do ever in your life, in your business, is take 100% responsibility. Some of you are struggling because you haven't done that yet. You're still blaming it on your negative spouse. You're still blaming it on the company screwed up this. You're still blaming it on your team's just not good enough, or your friends don't have any money, or they this or that. You're blaming something outside of you, not understanding that you and only you will ultimately be the one that determines where you end up. And so if we start from this place of responsibility, then it forces us to show up in the world in a different way. And here's another thing I want to share with you that I really see holding people back is one of the biggest things that I hear from my, my audience, my students, is they say, you know, Bob, the thing that holds me back, it's really this fear of failure, right? And I, just of the people that I can see right now, if you think failure, the fear of failure is one of the reasons why you're held back, just raise your hand and show me your hands. And some of y'all are straight up lying right now to me on Zoom, because I know everybody has that, because you're like, well, I don't raise my hand because I think it's gonna be the wrong answer. Okay? You see where I'm going with this already, right? There's no wrong answers, okay? But what I want to point out to you is this, is that I want to make an argument tonight that helps you look at failure differently. And this, by the way, this would be a good example of one of how you can create a more empowering story for yourself and your business that will help you go out and actually follow through and take action. I'm going to make the argument that failure actually doesn't exist. That failure is actually just a construct of your mind. Something is only failure if you decide to call it that, if that's your interpretation and that's your belief. See, a lot of times what we call failure is when we go out and we share our products or our business and someone says no to us. We call that a failure because we have our own self-worth tied to whether that person said yes or no. See, and this goes right back to the mindset of scarcity, is if you need someone to say yes to you to validate your being good enough and your ability to do this, that's never going to be a race you're going to win. If you need a lot of people to be liking your content on social media for you to feel good about yourself, this is not a race you are ever going to win. But if we, instead of calling it failure, what if we looked at it this way? Because this is the belief that I hold. When you take an action, you get one of two things. You either get the result you want or you get the lesson that you need. And I would argue that the lessons are worth 100 times more than the results. But what do? We focus so much on the result. We're so caught up on, but what, and think about it. You're not taking enough action, or you're not taking consistent action because you're afraid that you're not going to get the result that you want, right? It's like our desire, we want to be in control, right? And I just want you to notice how much your need to be in control has kept you from every opportunity you've ever wanted in your life. We only talk to people that we think may say yes, or that we think we won't offend them, or what if they look down on us? I don't want to share that I'm one of those people, right? We try to control other people's opinions about our businesses, and we want to control what they do, never realizing that as much as you want to, you'll never control other people and their opinions. So, but this is what we do. But if you can understand that the result is actually way less valuable than the lesson. See, because it is inside of the lessons that we get from the no's, that's where we develop our character, and that's where we grow as a person, because character is forged through the no's. You do not learn, or you learn very little and you grow very little through your successes, because most of you never take the time to reflect back and learn. And also, let's be honest, we don't even really take the time to celebrate our successes barely. It's right on to what's up next. See, if you can change your perspective about a no, if you can understand that the no's hold the key for your growth, the no's are where you're going to develop the character. And if you're stuck in your business, it's for one reason and one reason only. You haven't gotten the lessons that you need right now to help you go to that next level. And I want to go even a little bit deeper with this for you, because I have this other kind of crazy belief about this profession, that I teach a philosophy of building a network marketing business that I call legacy leadership. And I founded this thing, I call it the Legacy Leader Movement, where I am incredibly passionate and I am on a mission to help change the way that people look at network marketing. I want people to not be embarrassed to tell people this is what you do. I want us to begin to approach our businesses and teach it through what I call a purpose-driven perspective. Okay. And when I talk about purpose-driven, here's what I mean. What if all of the negative things that have happened to you in your business and in your life, all the no's, all the negative people, all the skeptical prospects, all the difficult to handle leaders, what if all the challenges and the problems and the difficulties we face, what if they're there for a reason? What if they were put there by a higher power to help us grow and evolve? What if even the most challenging time you faced in your life was a calling for your own spiritual and personal growth? That's what I believe. I actually believe that network marketing, your business, is an assignment from God. That's my belief. I don't know your belief system. Okay, God, universe, I accept people of all different beliefs. In my life, I believe that God placed this profession in my life to force me to grow as a person by facing my fears and the challenges and the difficulties that I had to face every day. And here's the interesting thing, to the degree that you are willing to do that, you will finally begin to discover a much bigger purpose for your life and your business. And look, regardless of what you believe, what I want to wake you up to today is there is a higher power here directing your steps. And I want you to understand that it is not an accident that you are in this company, that you are in this profession, and it is not an accident that you are on this Zoom tonight. And I don't know all of you, but here's what I know about you. You deep down inside know there is something more out there for you. You feel that calling for something bigger in your life. And maybe you're like me, and I'm telling you, for years, I was like, I don't know, I don't see it, I've got no success, I am broke. I can remember driving home from meetings after meeting where nobody would show, and I remember pulling over in my car with tears in my eyes saying, God, why is this not happening for me? I'm a good person. I believe that there's something bigger out there, but I don't see it yet. And maybe I'm crazy that I haven't quit, but I knew that in my heart and my soul. And that's the reason why you're attracted to this profession. And that's the reason, let's be real, why you put up with all the nonsense that you've got to put up with every day to build a business like this. All the no's, all the skepticism. Look, you're not normal, right? And I say that to you in the best possible way. You need to celebrate this, but I really, really want to wake some of you up to this bigger purpose while you're here. I didn't understand. I didn't understand that those first couple of years when I was really struggling, that was happening to me for a bigger reason. That I was being prepared for something so much larger. That those challenges were enhancing my story. They were making me who I was. I was forging my character in those first couple of years. I didn't know when I first joined my first network marketing company that someday I would be speaking to tens of thousands of people and sharing my story about how bad I was. And that would be the thing that they would love to hear the most because they could relate to that. I didn't get that at the time. I didn't realize that God doesn't always put in front of you what you want. He puts in front of you what you need at that particular moment in your business. And if you can begin to look at your business through this purpose-driven perspective, here's what you will understand. Life does not happen to you. You are not a powerless being. Life is happening for you. And it is your decision to look at the no's from a different perspective, from a more empowering perspective, understanding that they will be the very things that enhance and enrich your story and help you grow to become the person that you want to be. Then you really, really begin showing up in your business every day. But the final thing I'll say is this, and I really, really believe this, that one of the biggest reasons why people aren't successful is because success is boring. It's boring. Like, ask Corey, I'm sure she'll tell you, ask any other top leader, do you know how monotonous and mundane it is saying the same thing over and over to prospects again and again, sending the same messages, answering the same questions, handling the same objections, using the same products, doing the same training, doing this? Leadership is repetition. It's just saying the same things over and over until your team finally starts to get it. And then and only then do you start to see the results that you want. But most people, because we live in this kind of a society today, we think it's going to be like, man, I'm just going to recruit that one person, right? I got to just find that one person, man. And that's going to be, look, I got news for you. The minute you stop looking for that one right person and you start becoming that one right person, that's when your business starts to change. It's understanding everything that I'm talking about. And I'll go back to the beginning. Success is a matter of being. In this profession, if you can learn how to develop and grow your character, become a person of integrity and strong moral fiber, and go out there and show up every day in consistent pursuit of your goals, that's how you win big time, long term in this profession. So, Corey, I'll turn it back over to you. That was kind of what I had planned, and I wanted to make sure I left some time for some questions here. Whether it's on something I talked about or anything else. So I'll let you kind of handle it from here, how we want to go.
Okay, if anybody has a question, you can type it in the chat. And that would be great. We can ask Bob now. This would be a really great time to pick his brain if you guys do have specific questions. I am part of his Legacy Leadership Academy, and I love something he posted today. And I posted in our team page about moving from the friend zone to have conversations with people to kind of get into the meat of the ask. And I would love if you would kind of share that.
Yeah. And I'm going to just really quickly address Amy's question in the chat.
Perfect.
And I hope I don't screw this up, but the quote was, when you stop looking for that one right person and you finally start becoming that one right person, everything begins to change, which I think is, a really important point. So I think what I said today is what I posted today and what Corey's talking about is from an execution standpoint, like with prospecting, one of the big problems that we have is we get caught in relationship building mode, right? It's like there's this kind of gray area between, we don't want to go right for the jugular in the first message. Like, I think most of you hopefully know that by now. Like, if you're pitching people, if you're like cold pitching people, or you're like, if the first message that you send to somebody, you're already bringing up your products or your business, that's the reason why you're not successful on social media. Okay. So you don't do that. You can't send your first message. So you got to make it conversational. But then there's like, you know, that's like really open to interpretation, because some conversations can go much longer. So I think where a lot of us get stuck is we get so afraid to even bring it up to someone. We get stuck in this kind of idle chit chat back and forth. And then before we know it, we wind up spending all day long, like I'm using my air quotes on purpose, relationship building, but we never see any results because we never actually bring up what we want to bring up to people. So I want to give you a different way to look at this. Now, if it's a cold prospect, if it's somebody that you've never met before, this is different, because you do have to develop a little bit of a rapport with somebody you just connect with on social media. But I'm talking about like everybody else you know. I want you to start going for no sooner. And I want you to focus on building the relationship after the no. Because I will tell you this, no is not the end. No is the beginning for most people. Like, you've already figured this out. Most people are going to tell you no the first time. So do you want to wait 6 months to get the no, or do you want to just get the no, right? It's only going to be an issue is if after they give you the no, you ghost them and they never hear from you again. And here's the big mistake that most network marketers make. And once again, this comes from a mindset of scarcity, is the only time they reach back out to talk to someone is when they want to prospect them again. So here's a crazy idea. What if you went for no sooner after a couple of exchanges back and forth? You just brought it up and you just said, hey, look, here's one, why I have you. Look, I don't know what your language is. There's 100 different ways to do this. But what I want you to do is I want you to at least ask the question, get the no, or hey, maybe they say yes. Like, that would be kind of cool. But go for the no, and then relationship build after you've at least planted the seed with them. And I think that's where a lot of us struggle, is we're so afraid to bring it up. And I got news for you. If you do this the right way and somebody gets offended at you or gets angry because you thought enough of them to offer them products and opportunity that could transform their life, because that's the way, the story, like we talk about stories, right? Because we all have these stories about the way we look at our business. Some of you have the story that you're bothering people. Well, I don't want to bother them. I don't bother them with look, I used to have that story. My story that I changed is I'm doing them a favor. They should be thanking me that I even thought about them to offer what I have. I changed that story in my mind. It created a different emotions and beliefs, allowed me to take the action. But I got news for you. You do this the right way, and they're still act like that, you don't need that person in your life. They did you a favor. Unfollow, it's called, right? Now, I wish there was a way to unfollow people in real life. I really do. But some people we just can't get away from, right? Like, sometimes they sleep in bed next to us, and that's a little hard sometimes. But what I'm trying to say is that you got to change your perspective. You got to go for no sooner, and then relationship build. Here's a good strategy. So inside of our community, I teach our students something called a value-driven follow-up. Because one of the questions I get is, Bob, well, when should I reach back out? What should I say? Well, what if after someone told you no, the next time you reached out to them, it wasn't to prospect them, but it was just to reconnect? Maybe you saw a post on their wall and you said, hey, I saw, they posted something about a new diet that they were on, right? And you were like, hey, I saw a post on your wall, and hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Now, they're going to sit there and they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Because that's what they're conditioned. Because most network marketers, it's like, you can't turn that part of their brain off, because there's like, oh yeah, okay, hey, by the way, how about if you just, you don't try to prospect them, and you genuinely connect with them, and then afterwards you follow up and you shoot them a video, or you shoot them a workout, or you shoot them a book recommendation, or maybe it's a live that you did. You literally just lead with value and wanting to help them solve a problem in their life, and there is no other shoe to drop. See, because what a lot of you don't understand is that, you have what I call relational accounts with people. And it works like a bank account. And you have these with every person you've ever connected with or known in your life. And if all you're trying to do is make a withdrawal and you've not deposited anything in there, that's the reason why you're coming up empty. So like if we start adding value to people and we start focusing on them and stop making it just about us, we start making these deposits, and over time they add up, and then eventually they start reaping our rewards. But here's the problem. If you have a scarcity mindset, you won't do that long enough to see results. Because and I teach this all the time. Like I see it with live video, where I'll teach people, do live videos, don't sell, give, add value, inspire people. And they'll do it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll stop. And I'll be like, what happened? Well, it wasn't working. What do you mean it wasn't working? Well, I didn't get any customers. I'm like, well, you're focusing on the wrong thing. If you're only doing it because you think you'll get, you're never going to do it long enough. You got to do it because that's who you are. You got to do it because you genuinely want to help other people. You got to focus on giving before you ask to get. And that to me is the secret. It took me 10 years to learn this. The income that you earn in your business is a byproduct of the impact that you make in the lives of other people. My first 10 years in this profession, I used to obsess. And when I tell you obsess, it was not healthy, over making $1 million. I thought that because, that's all you hear about, 7-figure business. And I just had this crazy idea. I'm like, that'll solve that's the solution to every problem I've ever had. And I obsessed over making $1 million for 10 years, never even came close in a year. Never even came close. It wasn't until I understood what I just shared with you about 3 years ago when I started this training company that I'm building. I forgot it. I stopped obsessing over making $1 million, and I started and when I say obsess, I mean obsess. I started obsessing over helping and inspiring and impacting 1 million people. And almost overnight, when I changed my perspective, the thing that I tried to get for 10 years that eluded me showed up in my life in 10 months. And I don't share that with you to brag to you. It's not who I am. But just as a validation of like the stuff that I'm teaching you here, this is more than just like stuff that sounds good. Like if you can truly start looking at your business as a way for you to love and to serve and to grow, everything will change for you. See, all money does is it makes you more of who you are. If you're a creep and you make a lot of money, you're going to be a really big creep. But you want to know what? If you're somebody that has love in your heart and you truly, truly are a servant leader and not what a lot of people are, which are self-serving leaders, but you have love and service in your heart and you really, really like to the point that it hurts, you want to see people win, when I would argue you have a responsibility to become wealthy. Because all money will do for you is give you a bigger platform to love and inspire and impact and serve more people. But it starts from our philosophy and our approach to our business. And that was like so much more than what the question entailed, but I just kind of like went with it. So hopefully some of that stuff was good. So
we have another question, Bob. Was there any breakthrough moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for sure for me, it was when I shifted my philosophy and I realized that, the more that I gave, the more that I got, right? And that was a big one for me. But I'll tell you, a breakthrough moment, like a very like tangible one, is when I started doing live videos. I started doing live videos in July of 2015. I was scared to death. I mean, over a year, people were telling me, you need to do videos. And I was like, no thanks, right? I mean, I was just one of my worst fears my entire life was public speaking, if you can even believe that, but it is. I'm very introverted by nature, but I had this tremendous fear of putting something out there, and it's all the same fears you have of what are other people going to think. And then you know what? I started doing it, and I wasn't good in the beginning, and I was literally deathly afraid. But what I noticed early on is that there were people, and it wasn't a lot of people, like I had like 5 people on my first video, but I noticed that there were people actually out there that were telling me that it helped. And I remember I had to ask myself, I said, Bob, what's more important to you? is it more important to you to, to manage the opinions of a handful of people that you know, right? Because that's the thing, is like, well, what is this person going to think? What are they going to, oh, what are you, a motivational speaker now? Like, what do you, right? Like, is it more important for me to try to manage other people's opinions? Or is it more important for me to follow what I believe to be a calling for my life? Because I'll tell you, if you start paying attention to fear, the areas of your life where you fear the most, that's where you're being called to. I never understood that the thing that was one of my biggest fears my entire life that I ran away from like the plague was actually a reflection of one of the greatest gifts that I had inside of me. And so what I started doing is I really, because of that, I asked myself a question: what's more important? And the other thing that I realized was that if I learned how to start following my fears, I started really learning a lot of stuff about myself that I never realized. And it forced me to face this lie that I was telling myself, that I wasn't good enough, because I had visible evidence every day that I was helping people and that that wasn't true. So that decision to start doing live video and follow through. Now, I wasn't an overnight success. Here's the side note. I did a video every single day for 6 months before I made a single dollar doing any of the stuff that I'm doing today. But I truly believed that if I just put myself out there consistently and I helped enough people, that I wouldn't have to worry. I didn't know where it was going to come from. I just believed that I was going to, I would be okay. And I literally became passionate about seeing other people create results. And, one of the really important messages that I deliver to people, because I know I talk about this and then, like, I can hear some of you are thinking, you're like, yeah, but, I'm not successful yet, or I don't have that really crazy big story, or I don't have the big check. Who am I, right? Who am I to do that? Who am I to think, look, who are you not to do that, right? It's like, and I keep going back to this, but I tell people this all the time. I say, look, if you do believe in a higher power, I want you to acknowledge that every single time you do not acknowledge your own worth, you are slapping that loving creator in the face. And I just remember saying, I need to start showing up differently. And the message that I deliver is, yeah, I get there's a lot of people out there doing kind of what we're talking about, but I'll tell you this, there's a lot more people in the world hurting today. And there are way more people hurting in the world than there are helping and trying to heal. And I will tell you is, if you start to become a light for the people that are around you, because one of the greatest gifts that I was ever given because of this profession is my own personal growth, inspiration, belief, positive thinking. Most people don't have a single person in their life that can be that for them. You need to start being that for the people that are in your life. And you need to understand this. It doesn't matter whether they join. Because if you're only doing to get them to join, then you just missed the whole point of what I just shared with you. It's taking who you are, showing up in the world in a powerful way, being unapologetic, and understanding if you focus on serving and helping, that is, to me, that is my biggest breakthrough moment, is when I finally started to understand this stuff that I'm teaching you.
So good. So I'm taking notes. Sorry about that. Are there any other questions? I don't want to keep you just to keep you. This is so good, so powerful. Did you want to talk about a little bit about Dallas?
Yeah, sure. So I am actually, like, if y'all get any value out of this tonight, like, this is just like a small sliver kind of the stuff that we teach. Typically in my, in my training, we really, like, the thing I'm really most passionate about is leadership and mindset. But also I recognize that social media is like a big problem today for people, especially in the world we live in today. So I host an annual event that's actually happening next month in Dallas. I understand that there may be some Dallas or Texas people that are on here tonight, but I host an event. It's called the Impact and Growth Summit. It's happening May 17th through the 19th in Dallas. And it's going to be 3 days of training that I promise you will be some of the best training you've ever gotten inside of this profession. I've invited some of my good friends and some of the best trainers that I know in the world on social media. We're going to be deep diving into Instagram. I'm going to be doing a special segment on LinkedIn, which, by the way, like, if y'all are not on LinkedIn, because I understand there's you are missing out on what I think is one of the best opportunities on social media today. There are 600 million people on LinkedIn, professional type people. Less than 1% of them have ever posted a piece of content. So I want you to imagine if you were the only person that you were friends with on Facebook, thousands of people, you were the only one posting, or on Instagram. Do you think you'd have a little bit of a better chance to maybe get noticed and do some business? That's happening on LinkedIn today. I'm doing a special segment on using video on LinkedIn to grow your business. So we're going to be diving deep into social media. We're going to be doing tons of leadership, content, mindset. If you're interested in attending live, I'm going to put the website in here. I can't think and type, talk and think and type at the same time. So hold on. I'm limited to doing 2 things at the same time. 3 is pressing me. So impactandgrowthsummit.com. And if you use that code, you can get $100 off. But I'm also excited to share with you, and you all will be the first people to even hear about this because I haven't even announced it yet. I'm going to be announcing it tomorrow. We are doing a live stream ticket for the event. So if you can't make it and you want to still get access to the training, we are going to offer a live stream ticket, which will include all 3 days training, as well as lifetime access to all the recordings. So we do everything in one price. So for, I'll put that link in here as well. If you go to yourvirtualupline.com/live stream, I believe you could purchase right now. You can purchase a live stream ticket, and we've got a special deal that's only good until Sunday night, $147 for all 3 days of training and lifetime access to all the recordings. Thank you. Somebody acknowledged that's a pretty big deal. So whether you want to attend live, obviously if you live local or you're up for a road trip, there's no replacing being there live. But I know that that's difficult for some people. So if you go to that yourvirtualupline.com live stream, you can get tickets. They'll be $147 until Monday. They then go up to $197, and they'll be $197 for the rest of the time until the event. Feel free to share that with your teams. And yeah, I hope to see some of you, whether it's there live. I see Joy is on, and I know she's going to be there. Julie is going. And if any of you are going to be joining virtually, I promise you, it'll be well worth your time as well.
Okay, I think that's it for us. I know you need to get out of here and get on with your evening. We so appreciate your time, and just are thankful for all of the nuggets and the insight that you share so freely with all of us. So
yeah, it's my pleasure. And Corey, I want to thank you for being a part of our community, being a legacy leader. We really, I personally value people like you that are a part of our community. And thanks for inviting me here tonight. I know that this is not this is a big deal, and I hope that all of you got something, at least 1 or 2 nuggets that can help you. So I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Hope to see you at the event, and if I can do anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out. So thanks everybody.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye guys.